Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Steve Wells, and I just got back from a run in a shoe that I'm just testing out for a couple of days. I don't own this shoe, just to be clear, so I haven't done a ton of miles in it, but these are just kind of my initial impressions of the Hoka One One Rocket X. So this is one of Hoka's carbon fiber plate racing shoes, so going to be going up against the Alpha Fly, the Endorphin Pro, that kind of shoe, the Hyperion Elite. So it's going to be your carbon fiber plate marathon, I would say, racing shoe. So I've heard people say that this is a racing flat. I mean, yes, but to me, when I hear racing flat, I think something more like this. But I would say that this shoe is probably going to shine the most, like half marathon, marathon distance. Definitely could be wearing it for 5Ks, 10Ks on the road if you wanted to. And then your Carbon X kind of comes in at that marathon to ultra road distance. So I think that in terms of if I was choosing between the Rocket X and the Carbon X as a marathon or half marathon race shoe, I think that I would choose the Rocket X, not only for the little bit better fit, I would say, which I'll talk about in just a second, the fit in this, but I would say that this one, while not amazing for me, is better than the Carbon X, because the Carbon X just seems to have so much volume in it, just gets really sloppy for me. I also like that there's a little bit less kind of plush cushioning, it feels like to me, in this shoe over the Carbon X, which I don't necessarily want that really soft cushioning. I want that kind of bounce, which, as far as this shoe, I feel like is kind of lacking. So even if we were comparing this shoe to non-carbon fiber plate racing shoes like the Rincon or the Endorphin Speed or something like that, I feel like I'm getting more responsiveness out of those other shoes because of the foam that's in them, especially if you're stacking this shoe up against the Endorphin Pro, Hyperion Elite, Alpha Fly. I think that foam there, that giving you that responsiveness, bounciness, feel like it's propelling you forward, you don't get that quite as much in the Rocket X as some of its competitors. When it comes to weight of this shoe, I put this on my scale a second ago and I was kind of, well, not shocked, but surprised. I was a little surprised. So 8.6 ounces, not a super heavy shoe, relatively lightweight. Compare it to, so this is an 11.5, this one's a 12. We compare it to these, 8.4. So the size 12 in the Rincon is actually a little bit lighter. Not that you're going to feel that difference, but just as kind of comparison, they're fairly similar weight-wise. And then let's compare it to the Endorphin Speeds here, 8.1. So while this is by no means a heavy shoe, for what it is, I mean, obviously with that plate and everything, it's going to be a little bit heavier. If I'm an elite runner, which I'm not, I might even choose one of these as my racing shoe. Personally, I would choose one of them as my racing shoe just because as I'm running in those other shoes, it feels like they're making me go faster, and I just really wasn't getting that in this shoe. Also was having some issues with the fit. So a lot of Hokas, I had similar problem in the Rincon, not as bad. Similar problem in the Clifton, Irahi, pretty much everyone. But kind of curves back around, and it's really tight on the outside of my foot here. So this one specifically, I feel like I would probably blow out the side before I got too many miles in this shoe. So I feel like I've just been bashing this shoe. So let's talk about a couple things that I really like about this shoe. So one is going to be the mesh on the upper. So if you compare it to the Rincon 1, I would say it's kind of similar, but on the Rocket it's going to be a little bit thinner, but then it does have this other material underneath to reinforce, and my guess would be make it a little bit more durable than if it was just this really thin mesh. I also like that they added a little bit of rubber to the outsole. Not every shoe in this category has this much rubber on it, and that's going to help give you a little bit more traction in the rain and also help with durability a little bit. So Katie was not having this same pro as I was as she was running in this shoe. She said that she felt like her heel was not fully secured in there, but I felt like mine was. Even though I did have to pull it way tight because of how much volume there is and I had a lot of lace, I didn't feel like I was sliding all over the place in the shoe or anything like that. In terms of looks, I think that this shoe looks kind of cool. It's not super over the top, but is still relatively interesting looking for a race shoe. It's not going to be neon yellow, but sometimes racing shoes can go a little bit over the top for some people. It's very Hoka-y looking. I like that this liner is not glued into the shoe, but it's also thick enough and rigid enough that it wasn't sliding up the back of my foot as I was running in this shoe, which sometimes with thinner liners can be a problem. And the last pro about this shoe here is the price point. So at $180, it's definitely not cheap, but in terms of carbon fiber plate racing shoes, it is one of the more affordable ones. So they can get up 170 or 275, 250, 200, and at 180, while they're not giving them away, it is more affordable than some of the other alternatives. So will I be running out tomorrow to buy myself a pair of these to keep? Probably not. While I do think that this shoe could work well for some people with a different foot shape than mine, it really just doesn't work for me, with it being so tight on the outside there that kind of, and people are going to kill me for saying this, but lack of responsiveness. Not that it's not a fast feeling responsive shoe, it's just not what I have in mind when I'm dropping $180 on a pair of shoes. And I think that there are shoes that make me feel faster at lower price points than this shoe. So I do only have this shoe for a couple of days, so maybe I would feel differently if I was able to try it out for a more extended period of time. I just wanted to get this video in while I had it. That's why I look like I just got back from a run. That's why it's kind of messy back there, because I just wanted to get this video out to share my thoughts on this shoe with you guys. So if you have a carbon fiber racing shoe that you love, let me know down in the comments which one is your favorite. If it's the Rocket X, let me know why. While you're down there, be sure to like and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys next week.